going on, guys? Quick one today, kind of. We're gonna cut the rear quarters out on the E36 to put some Riger flares on it. I found some flares, original flares, in Germany on eBay, and I kind of took a chance and they came. So they're original, they're good, fit, they're fiberglass, but we had to modify them a little bit, which is no problem. But anyway, I just kind of want to run you guys through how I cut the quarters and, you know, so kind of secure everything up there without welding and getting wild, because I don't really think it's necessary to do all that. So I'll show you where I'm at right now. I've taped it, and then I want to show you kind of where to mark it and where to cut and what to do from there. So let's check it out. All right, so let's go ahead and fit our flare again. Again, these are our cut lines. This is our marking here. Just want to show you how I marked it. This little tab here, fit underneath the bumper on the rear quarter, you know, up on it, and then just kind of push it all the way back. And that's how I got my line here. So put this on loose, mark it. Later on, we're going to tighten things up and kind of like tweak this in, and then we'll mount it here somehow with some panel mount or something. These are, again, like I said, the original Riger or however you say it, flares. You do have to modify them. Obviously, I cut it. Here's a little tab on them. I think it's Riger or Riger, whatever. This piece goes obviously here. I'm sure you guys seen a ton of pictures. This is a little long here. So most I've seen people have cut it and they just kind of stop here. Plus, I'd like to remove my side skirts later on if I want. So this, if you have this on, it'd make it kind of tough to do that. Also, this guy is super long, so you can tell how it like sticks down pretty good. It'd be kind of about here. And I could make that work. You can cut it in half and like make it tight, which they do fit pretty well. But they just don't fit for some reason. I don't know what it is, but it's almost like you need a longer side skirt. So whatever the case, this is gone. And kind of modified it to fit like this. I did cut along that line, and it does make it a little wonky. As you can tell, it gets kind of weird, but I'm gonna figure that out later on. But I just wanted to show you guys what I'm cutting and what I'm doing afterwards. That's the main reason for this video. It's not specific to these flares. Pretty much anything you're gonna put on here, flare-wise, is gonna be done like this. The other ones, like the felony form ones, and there's a couple other ones that replace like most of your rear quarter. Who cares? Just chop everything out. Doesn't even matter. But let's go ahead and cut this here. There's 2 layers here. What we're gonna do is cut this, make one cut here and expose the thin layer. And then we're gonna cut this one off as well. And I'll show you how we're gonna bend it back and then make another cut here to remove this whole part. And then so on. We're gonna cut more out of here. Then we're gonna spend a little more time on this area also to like tighten things up a little bit. Another thing too, which I didn't mention, another thing to keep in mind is this arc is a little wider than the actual 36 arc. So later on, I'm gonna pull this bumper out and try to fix it to this. First of all, to get it wider. Second of all, we're gonna have to cut a little bit of the bumper to match the arch, or it'll look kind of wonky. There's like some Pandem or Pandem kits that you have to do that also, but the arc is way back. You almost have to come back here with it. So I don't know what other fenders or fender flares you would need to do this, but I'm pretty sure you might have to do this to all of them because the arc is kind of small on the 36. So, but not too bad. I'm going to actually just chop a little bit off and then paint it and figure it out. When fitting these, also, I know this is like a lot of talking and shit, but when you are fitting these and marking everything, put your bumper on. I have it up with the jack here just to like half-ass hold it, because you want to make sure this is in the right spot. You don't want it too forward, you don't want it too back, because you can put this, you know, in a couple different spots. So just make sure to go ahead and do that. But enough talking, let's cut this out and go from there. All right, so now this cut's done. You can tell it kind of relieved itself. What we're gonna do now is cut along this line, get out this piece here, and then we'll make another cut to get this piece out itself. Along for the sides, I kind of chopped one, like a flat here or whatever it's called, and you'll see that'll fall out after we cut the second cut after this. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay, so our measurements were semi-on. We're a little low or a little high here. I wanted to try to stay exactly with this line, which you did a decent job. And the reason is because we're gonna now make a bunch of cuts here. And once you're into this area, it's hard to bend it over. And we're gonna cut these like this, strips, bend them up, and you'll see what I'm talking about. This section here is a little funky. Let me get you over so you can see what's up. So this is what we got. Just kind of take your time. It looks like a shit show right now, but this piece will disappear after we start making our pie cuts here, or whatever you call them. You'll get into this and it'll be gone. So we want one layer rather than two layers. So this will get out of here. It's messy here. This is gonna be cut off. Gone, straighten that out, but just work it and take your time. All these little hangers, you want those off. So after you're done cutting anything, just go back and like kind of smooth everything out, because those will be a problem afterwards. This section here, our corner is pretty good. You can see it's tight, so we don't really need to do too much, folding over. But anyway, let's move on to the next step, and then you'll start to understand what I'm talking about with kind of folding things over. So I'm just gonna kind of stay, you can kind of feel in the back where it ends, but I'm gonna stay on this line here, and that's where we're gonna stop. So pretty much, this one I guess we can come up a little bit, but let's just go ahead and start. What you wanna do with this is sort of easy, but sometimes overlooked. You want to stay not parallel, but at the 90-degree angle with each arc, meaning you don't want to go like this. You want to match, like a clock, the arc of it. Because once you do that, if we go up like this, you won't be able to fold it up. It'll be at a weird angle. So I'm just going to kind of split this, which would be here. Split this somewhere here. I want to try to make things symmetrical as possible, which I know is tough, but not that it really matters, but for me, I get a little weird about things. And I may end up splitting these again. So here. Yeah, I'll probably split these again. They're a little small now, but who cares? They're a little small. Probably want, let's do these again. You don't want them too small. Apparently, this is crazy. This is what you want here. All right, now let's go ahead and cut these. Make them about 1 inch apart. I kind of screwed up here, but make them kind of 1 inch apart or so. You know what I mean? You don't want them too tight because there'll be too many of them. This one's a little wide, but you'll get the hang of it. It's not a huge deal. This one, we're gonna go up with this. I don't care. We're gonna go up with this one and that one too. And then this, again, we're gonna cut this off and this will be gone. And then we can make a couple cuts on this edge here. So before we cut these, I'm gonna clean this edge, get rid of this stuff, and then we'll cut them. Now we're just take our hammer here and kind of bend them up a little bit. This is kind of a brutal process, but these are really weak, so don't go too crazy on it. They bend real easy, so try to stay near the edge. You don't want to bend them outside because they'll curl. I cut myself. So where it's doubled up, obviously it's going to require a little more nut, I guess. So there's a couple spots here where it kind of doubled up. As you can tell, these are the doubled up ones. I'm gonna go ahead and try to take these off, kind of bend these down a little bit. Might not be able to get at this one, but I'm gonna try to, that one's okay, I guess. I'm gonna just try to cut this off. So it's just one layer, because afterwards we're gonna go up with it. And you don't want too much force. It won't be good. But this is what you want, and you kind of want everything to be semi-level with it. But just play around with it. You'll see how to massage things to make everything like exact. But let's go take these off, then we'll rework this again and see where we're at. Now that that's done, this part again is a little funky, which you'll kind of figure out as you go, but what's gonna happen now is, I guess you wanna take your tape off probably, right? I kind of forget all the time. Take all your tape off. So we're gonna roll these up, and then we're gonna throw a couple rivets in there, kind of just like that. But the thing is, what happens when you do that is, obviously it's pushing in our fender, or our quarter here, and distorting it. So to kind of eliminate that, it's kind of hard, but you can kind of grab your needle nose and kind of come in between them sometimes, and just kind of hold them, pull back on the quarter, and go ahead and push two of them in. And if you want, maybe we can give it a little hammer so we can 90-degree them. So I'm only gonna do 2 of these right now, is because we're gonna do each one by themselves. You want to try to keep this quarter, level. You don't want it distorted. So I'm going to do 2 of these and then move on to another 2 and another 2. And in the meantime, when holding this here, so it doesn't move, you want to drill pretty low. You know what I mean? You want to drill kind of low, 1, 2. But as you're pushing in, you're pulling out on this, so obviously it doesn't distort that. So go ahead and do that about here. Best thing to do is kind of let the drill do its work. The more you're pushing on it, the more it's moving around. Just take your rivets and go right in there, and that's it. here. That's it. So what we're gonna do is complete everything and then come back to this, and we're gonna end up cutting these down pretty short. And then after that's done, we'll move on to the next stage. But let's go ahead and bend all these up, get everything secured, and then we'll move on from there. All right, guys, now that that's done, that is probably by far the most tedious part of this. You just take your time, make sure everything's nice, because again, you don't want that waviness here, which we're pretty good. The corner sides, we'll call them, they're a little stiffer, so you don't really need to like get in between too much. They're pretty stiff here, especially back here. So you don't have to worry about that. But so now let's go ahead and cut this a little shorter. I ended up bending them back just a little bit. That way they're away from the panel. So when we cut, the chances of us cutting in here are a little less. But this also, you'll have to take your time, maybe cut halfway through, bend back and forth, they'll come off. You do not want to cut into your rear quarter, obviously. So let's go ahead and cut all these. And on to the next. Just gonna clean all this up. If there's any paint on there or whatever. Just really trying to get the loose paint off there from, the car's been painted underneath. Doesn't really matter, but I'm just trying to clean things up just so I can see a little bit. All right, so this is what we're left with. Everything's nice and tidy, I guess we'll say. Underneath, looks pretty good. There's not too many big cuts in there, you know, so I know it's kind of hard to tell. Like paint. It looks kind of ratty, but all in all, it's a pretty tidy job, to be honest with you. All right, so I went ahead and put the flare back on and kind of marked generally, you know, where we're at here. And I just wanted to kind of see where we're going. We're probably way up here with stuff, around here. So we're well out of the way of any tire that's going to be hitting. And I marked this also to see how far away we are, because what we're going to do next is put some door sealer bond adhesive, I guess it's called, across here. Just kind of tighten things up, make sure nothing moves, but when that stuff hardens up, it hardens up like a rock. So that will be good enough. And this is what we're using. I don't know if you guys can see it here. It's a little blurry. There we go. It's called Dual Mix Door Skin Adhesive. SEM makes this product. It's pretty good. I've used it on the roof, which hardened up pretty good. And I guess it's, for the price of it, it better work. So let's go ahead and do that. So I'm not going to get too wild with this. I really don't want this getting anywhere it shouldn't, but I'm going to kind of start in the center and work my way over. But just kind of take your time with this stuff too. I don't know, it can get messy. But I'm gonna come through with this little piece of plastic I found in the garage here and kind of smooth things out the best I can. Guess we'll start here. You don't want to apply too much pressure because it'll just push everything out, but if you can kind of work it, kind of like body work. I don't know if you guys ever done any of that, but that sucks. Kind of dragging the top into the bottom, if that makes sense, but do it however you want, whatever. There's a half-hour work time with this stuff, so you have a little bit of time, and I suggest you just keep working it until it's like semi-dry, because it'll just drip and drip, but eventually it will tack up and you'll be good to go. So now I'm going to take some tape here. This is I'm not sure what this tape is used for, but it's like metal tape. I believe it's for bathrooms or something like that, but I'm just going to take like little pieces here and try to fold them up around it. It's probably a little unnecessary, but again, don't go too high with it. Let's keep it low. And this stuff will sort of mold to what we did, you know. So I'm just gonna kind of go like this first. It should be sealed up pretty good, I would imagine. And that's it. All right, guys, that'll do it. I just wanted a quick run video to show you guys kind of how I cut the arches and kind of seal everything up. I was gonna get involved and like show you guys how to fit the flares to them, or my version of doing that. But every flare is different, and some are screwed to it, others are bonded to it. So whatever flare you have, figure it out. But I think this is a pretty informative video about how to, my version of how to cut and seal up the back end. Because that's mostly the hardest part. The front end is pretty easy, but the back can be a little difficult. So that's it, what it looks like when it's finished. The tape is a little overkill. You probably don't need that, but it helps seal the panel bond. You know, helps it keep in place. But so that's it. There's a lot more to do on the car. As you can tell, it's pretty bare shell. So if I find anything along the way that's informative or interesting, make another couple videos here and there. Like I said, it's quite a lot to do. So, all right, guys, thanks. See ya.